You may think of cruising and immediately imagine dinners in the main dining room, but we're going to show you all 3 options we found for sit-down dinners on Wonder of the Seas that were included in the cost of the cruise. That's right, free. You can mix things up, even without paying for specialty dining. And as gluten-free, dairy-free pescatarians, we will share advice for those cruising with special diets. We were booked in a junior suite for the sailing and had access to dinners in Coastal Kitchen. And we'll share if we think that's a better option for special diets. First, we take you to the main dining room, which we didn't even experience until we went on day 4 of the cruise for the Mexican menu.
I will say, we sat down and they were like, we have your pre-orders and we're getting your gluten-free bread. So, very promising so far.
Also, we got the
So, I think this tortilla soup, which is very yummy, reminds me of the sauce on the Amy's enchiladas.
Yes! But in such a good way.
And that is amazing.
Such a good way. It's like a red enchilada sauce with a real taste of the corn from a tamale coming through. It's almost a little bit. Yeah. It's vegan but tastes like cheese enchiladas. And it's like almost a little bit too salty, which is saying a lot coming from me. But it is so good. Now I just want to put Amy's enchiladas in a blender and just.
That's what I think.
That's what that is.
Nora, how was the soup?
Great.
You said if you take a big bite, it's spicy.
Yeah, but I took both sips.
These are the corn cakes. Now, I will say, when I came to special request them, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to figure out how to make these work. I don't know if maybe they're already gluten-free, dairy-free, or if these were really made specially for us, but let's see how they are. Nora seems to love them. They're really tasty. Also, the guacamole on top, you can tell is either handmade or hand embellished versus the stuff that they serve up on deck, which is like kind of pre-made guacamole. This is a lot more crafted guacamole. There's also some beautiful roasted veggies underneath. There's some squash and some green pepper and zucchini. It's great. It's like a little fry cake. It almost reminds me a little bit of like a tostone.
I thought it was a literal corn cake, but they said corn cake. It's a corn cake. Not a bready corn cake.
Just be aware, these peppers, they're not just like green bell peppers. There's some spice there. Avoid the seeds if you can. So it's a chili lime salmon with a mango salsa and a kale and sweet potato hash underneath. And I, like, a kale sweet potato hash is one of my favorite things. And that's a beautiful base for this. Mango chili salsa. So I found the corn cake in the last course needed a little bit of salt. I don't think this needs salt at all. It's very difficult to get salmon the perfect temperature whenever you're cooking for this many people, but it's not dry at all. It's not overcooked. I mean, it's not, there's nothing underdone about it, but it still is, it's not dry, which is a feat. This is a stellar meal. I was just saying to Nick, we haven't been to the main dining room yet because we thought that standard cruise fare in the dining room was just kind of uninteresting. It's good, but just not that exciting. So it's kind of fun that we got to come on a theme night with the Mexican theme tonight, because they have taken these really interesting flavors and elevated them to be a fine dining style, and they're so good. It's, the creativity really shines.
Delicioso.
What would they have for gluten-free, dairy-free dessert?
It's like a chocolate mousse.
Don't see chocolate. Chocolate cake is soy coconut.
Coconut?
Yeah.
But there's like almost nut on the chocolate.
Honestly, we went in with low expectations, and that meal far exceeded it with interesting food and excellent service.
So we went back the next morning for breakfast. Now I know this video is about dinners, but this will explain a bit of the pre-ordering process in the main dining room.
We just started our breakfast down here in the main dining room. We're on the 3rd deck right now. And I have to say, we walked right up and they were like, oh, we've been waiting for you. Here's your special order here, ready to go. It actually was pretty incredible and felt very hospitable.
Everybody was excited for breakfast.
I always order my eggs over medium. No one ever makes them over medium. They either come out over easy or they come out over hard. The menu actually says over medium, which seems like a really difficult thing to do when you're making mass quantity eggs, and yet that is a perfect over medium egg.
Veggies with a slightly runny egg make me so very happy, and the mushrooms are so flavorful. This is a really fantastic, bright, clean, healthy breakfast to start your day. It does normally come with, I'm trying to remember if it's Parmesan or Pecorino, something on top that we had to have removed. So it's only slightly modified to make it dairy-free and was already gluten-free as is. The veggies are a nice roasted potato with some yellow squash, green peppers and mushrooms, and I saw a little bit of spinach and onions. You never know what you're gonna get though. So this morning when we arrived, we let the head waiter and the host at the front of the main dining room know that we had pre-ordered the night before with our head server, June. And he double checked and said, oh yes, June, what's your room number? And he was like, here it is, I've got it all lined up for you. I even was able to specify that I wanted the kids' French toast made with almond milk instead of soy milk. June said that was no problem, and they confirmed today that that was what they were going to be doing, which is really nice. I find that they typically default to soy milk here on Royal Caribbean, and I would prefer to avoid soy milk as much as possible, so we requested almond, and they were able to accommodate that no problem, so just ask. They did say it's going to take about an extra 15-20 minutes for that to all come together, but that's fine. We're used to our allergy orders taking a little bit longer. The breakfast bowls came out quickly, the fruit plates came out quickly, and now we're just waiting on the French toast. But everyone has been super gracious, super helpful, and all along the way said, yeah, easy, no problem, we've gotcha, which is such a relief, because last time there was a lot of, oh, I don't know if we can do it, I don't know if you ordered it right, you didn't do enough to order it in advance, we can't help you. And we ended up hungry quite a bit on our last Royal Caribbean cruise. That is not the case this week.
We went back to the main dining room on the final night, which, if you've been on a royal cruise before, you know it's always a party.
If they end up not having a good entree tonight, I'm just going to ask for like 4 more asparaguses, because I love this puree that's on the bottom. It's so flavorful.
4 more asparagus.
Now, I trust Stacian to do what the chef is telling her is safe, but the appetizers came out with pita and feta and tzatziki. It was definitely gluten and dairy, and we immediately were like, oh, take that back, there's no way. And they had to make changes to the meal, and we're glad we did not eat them. So now I'm kind of nervous to eat. And at the end of the day, I would love an allergy stick. I miss those little picks sticking up out of my food. And I've gotten them before on Royal, but there haven't been any on this sailing. It would do a lot for my reassurance.
But the salmon entree and this flourless chocolate dessert that almost had a mousse texture were both safe for our diets, and we had a great night. But let's venture beyond the main dining room now. If you've been to the adults-only pool, the Solarium, you may have seen the Solarium Bistro located here. This beautiful space is included in the cost of your cruise, and while the pool is an adults-only area, Solarium Bistro does allow kids. You just don't tend to see many children here, and we dropped ours off at the kids club to make this a date night. This Mediterranean menu is perfect for vegetarians and pescatarians, and the chef walked the buffet to show us which items were gluten-free. Because the items are pre-plated, there's less chance of cross-contact than other buffets with shared serving utensils. There weren't any dessert options for us except for this beautiful fruit cup. But if you love hummus, baba ganoush, and dips, or salads with pomegranate seeds, or watermelon with mint, what a delicious meal.
I just went to get a couple little dishes for my entree, and they warned me that the dishes were hot. And I was like, oh, it's a heat lamp, I'll be fine. They're hot. So don't be afraid to take a plate to put your little dishes on. Save your fingers. Snapper and salmon. Wow.
The restaurant was pretty empty, so the only negative is that the food got stale that night without more turnover. But it was a fantastic change of scene.
We are headed to Coastal Kitchen for the first time.
We booked a junior suite for this sailing, and you can see the full room tour here. We primarily got this room because, as a family of 5, it could fit us all. But also, this room class comes with dinner access to Coastal Kitchen, the dining room for suite guests. And we wondered if we would have a heightened level of service that would help us finding safe, gluten-free, and dairy-free foods.
I made this reservation pretty much as soon as we got on the ship. They had a late night seating available last night on day 1, and they had this fairly early seating, 5:15 p.m. on day 2. So we'll see what's available after we're done with dinner tonight. While this isn't actually an adults-only space, by virtue of it being a suites-only location, it just feels like it's supposed to be a little calmer, which doesn't always work with our brood. We did call earlier this morning to pre-order all of our dishes. The benefit of that is that we didn't have to wait very long. Basically, as soon as we sat down, they were able to bring out Laura's and my salads and fruit for the kids, and they're pretty salads. It's nicer than what I think we would get if we got them in the main dining room. Now for our next course, we pre-ordered for me and Laura a pollock that normally comes on the menu with crab and shrimp and crust and sauce, and we'll see how it comes. We'll see. There was a coconut cream sauce, so I don't know if that means coconut cream or if that means coconut and cream. So we'll see if we get that or not. And then for the kids, they had a zucchini spaghetti, so that was pretty close as it was, and roasted salmon. And so we got a couple of both those things for the 3 kids to share. We finished our fish really well seasoned, really flavorful, but now we think we're about to get the pièce de résistance. The kids are going to get some mango sorbet, but I think we're all getting a coconut cake, which we're kind of really excited for. You know, we said, hey, surprise us, and they're like, we'll make you a gluten-free, dairy-free coconut cake. So we'll see.
Unbelievable.
I don't like sorbet.
It's ice cream. It's mango ice cream. So many desserts.
I'm having 3 because Nora doesn't want to.
You want 3 desserts?
Let's see how you do on the first one.
Is it good?
It is. A little too good?
That is so fluffy. So good, I'm suspicious.
You should eat this. Just cut out of the camera and eat it. Eat it, please, eat it.
Quick comment about our main dining room versus Coastal Kitchen dinner experience. When we were there, the manager of the restaurant came over and said, how about we just give you this table, this server for the rest of the cruise at 5:30 p.m., which is a little earlier than we normally eat and much earlier than the main dining room dinner time that we have. But we ended up saying, okay, let's go ahead and reserve it. Having that consistency and that routine is actually proven to be pretty valuable, at least here on Royal Caribbean when we have dietary restrictions. Part of the reason why is that you order ahead of time what your meal is going to be, and I personally find it's much easier to do that kind of reserving when you're having the meal itself that day prior, right? So if you have dinner on day 2, you can then pre-order your dinner for day 3, and then so on and so on and so on. What I find kind of difficult is when you jump around to different restaurants, whether that be between the main dining room or coastal kitchen, or maybe doing some specialty dining. Having to pre-order when it's a space that you're not in at the moment takes a lot more work. You have to go there, you have to speak with somebody who's able to take the order, you have to make sure to do it at the right time. It's just a lot trickier. Whereas if you do it exactly the night before at the same time with the people who are already serving you, it makes things a lot easier.
So here's my formal night dress with a high-low back. I feel like Princess Kate in this. Am I gonna be more overdressed than most of the guests? Probably.
So when it is formal night in the main dining room, is it also formal night in Coastal Kitchen? Or will I be severely overdressed? The formal night menu in Coastal Kitchen was a little fancier than usual, and they always figured out a gluten-free bread service.
Those roasted garlic cloves make every bite just this flavor explosion. There are like 6 cloves of garlic on my salad. We were gonna go to a wine bar tonight, make it like a little date night, but it's gonna be a garlicky date night. So take that for what it is. Delicious. There are these beautifully thin sliced potatoes, like scale crusting the fish. And underneath there's a bed of sauteed spinach. It's a similar tomato sauce to what we had last night, which is very sweet as marinaras go. Not generally my favorite to be quite that sweet in a marinara, but it's good.
And the literally unbelievable cake made another appearance, with a slightly different flavor combo this time.
I'm showing you the perfect. The bottom of the glass. This is, for real, it is coffee.
She hates coffee. The lashes are off. The nail polish is off. My hair's in a bun because it hasn't been washed in 8 days. We're getting to the relaxed part of a week-long vacation.
On this night, Nick and I went to Solarium Bistro, so we just stopped by Coastal Kitchen to get the kids fed before the kids club. Gluten-free pasta and that cake for the win. Even at our final Coastal Kitchen meal, they were wowing us.
Homemade gluten-free, dairy-free bread. No more Canyon Bakehouse slices.
There was a tuna tartare, colorful salads, and Nick even took a night off from the pescatarian diet to order the duck, while I ordered the vegan entree.
Our server said this is a Singaporean-style green curry, and that it's not that hot, but it has a little kick. This is the spiciest curry I've had in quite a while. I mean, we go really mild on our curries, but whew. One of my favorite things about these venues at the top of the ship is that you can see outside, especially at night. When you're in port, you can see all the lights around you. And if you start sailing away during dinner, oh, it's the best view.
And our final cake, we got pineapple surprise. It was positively glowing yellow. And a red wine sorbet. In the end, we just knew that our main dining room experience on our last Royal cruise on the Anthem of the Seas left a lot to be desired, and we booked a suite level to solve that. Did Coastal Kitchen beat the experience from 2022? Absolutely. But did it surpass the main dining room level or the Solarium Bistro on the Wonder? I'm not so sure. They were all really great at handling our dietary restrictions, and I would confidently cruise on the Wonder of the Seas again, knowing that we would eat so well. But we're not done, so subscribe and join us for our upcoming excursions. Thanks so much for watching, travelers.